Welcome back, folks, to Let's Play Broken Sword, Shadow of the Templars. And when last we left off, George was trying to get even further into this hospital so that he can go talk to Jacques Marquet. We have a few questions we need to ask Jacques Marquet. Right now, we're currently masquerading as a doctor, which isn't good whatsoever because we can't actually provide any real medical treatment to anyone here. So let's hope we don't have to provide any medical treatment to anyone here. Also, as a point to note...
This guy didn't look sick to me. He didn't have spots or stitches, and he certainly didn't have a fever.
I've been actually completely missing it throughout the whole game, but pressing right mouse button instead of left makes you examine things. The fact that some of the first things that happened in the game when I was doing various things after the introduction was actually prompting various inner monologue descriptions made me think that that was the only button you used to look at things. I was wrong, and right mouse button does indeed examine things. Oops. Moving forward, we shall be doing that. Also, it's an interesting point to note here that even now, point-and-click adventure games use very, very different systems for examining and using and talking to various people and objects within the game. Some of them have left-click, right-click, some of them have a selection of buttons at the bottom of the screen, some of them you have to click the right mouse button and then a menu of buttons comes up. Sometimes you can press buttons on the actual keyboard to do it. It's all very, very varied. Even now, and especially in the 90s when this game came out. That said, there are very few things to actually look at in this screen. In fact, there isn't. There's no actual things and just people. So let's look at the rest of the people here.
The guy was sick. His face was the same shade of gray as the pillow beneath his head. I wondered whether I ought to call the nurse. Maybe check him out for breathing.
No, I don't think you should.
Now, I was no doctor, but this guy looked dead to me.
Well, I suppose we should probably check that patient? Nope, apparently we shouldn't.
The nurse was stunningly beautiful. The guys on this ward sure were lucky to be in her care.
Well, with that out the way, we should move on. Talking to her basically makes you go to another one of these two patients again, so there's actually no real reason to talk to her. Not at this moment in time, anyway. So let's move on, round the corner, and hopefully we'll find Jacques Marquet. Let's go.
Doctor,
What is it?
you haven't taken my blood pressure.
Ah, well, let's go do that, shall we? I'm sure George can take someone's blood pressure. He does have a device for it, after all. There you go. There we go.
Seems fine to me.
You're not doing it right.
Of course I am.
No, you're not. Dr. Monroe never did it like that.
I can't take a satisfactory reading while you're excited like this. I'll come back later.
We can't actually get past this area at all, I don't think, or at least that's probably what's being presented before us, until we take this guy's blood pressure. And I don't think we're going to be able to find a way to do that here. We're going to have to move backwards to go forwards. Let's go! This also does mean we get to examine Mr. Shiny, though, which is something we definitely needed to do. So let's look at this plug socket first.
The connector in the socket supplied electricity to the polishing machine.
What about the water?
I guess the water cooler was for the use of people lost in the corridors.
That's gonna happen a lot here by the looks of it.
It was a life-sized marble figure of a guy in robes. The sculptor had tried to give him a look of paternal authority and concern. To my mind, he looked just plain constipated.
Well, let's have a look at Mr. Shiny, shall we? The highlight of the screen.
It was a classic example of functionalism, like an early Soviet spacecraft. I almost expected to see a dog or a monkey leap out.
Nope, that's just Mr. Shiny.
It was the door to the store cupboard.
And finally, the man piloting Mr. Shiny.
He looked blissfully happy, for no apparent reason.
How on earth are you able to see that not looking at him? That's a good, skill you have there, George. Let's move on. Maybe one of these doctors can help us. But first, we need to look at the various people here.
The woman managed to look overworked and hassled, though she didn't appear to be doing anything. The young man's face was full of eagerness and enthusiasm. I figured he was fresh from college.
He might be able to help us.
The guy seemed to be practicing his air of authority. Today, he was working on his withering stare.
Let's see if we can get him to help us.
Hey, Benoit!
Hello! We're just gonna come talk to you.
Yes, sir?
Let's talk about, the nurse in the ward.
Do you know the nurse on Ward J2?
No, monsieur. This is my first day here. I can't wait to get my hands dirty. I was talking about treating my first patient, of course. I didn't mean I'd get my hands dirty with a nurse.
Well, no option to actually ask for help here.
See you later.
Right.
Maybe we can talk to this doctor and see if that'll help. Maybe. It's worth a go.
Excuse me, sir.
You must be the new boy.
Yeah, I must be.
Well, stop wandering about and make yourself useful. Benoit, come here, boy. This is Benoit, my nephew. Can I trust you to look after him?
Do your own babysitting, Gramps. Who do you think you are, anyhow?
I am Felix Hagenmeyer.
And may I say what an honor it is to meet you in person, sir. You are on my medical wall of fame. Right up there with Pasteur and Leary. I look on it as a privilege, no, an honor, to look after your nephew, sir.
He is fresh out of medical school. It will open his eyes to see a real doctor on the job.
I'll bet.
Show him around. Let him see some real suffering.
Yeah, I don't think that's really gonna happen while he's following George.
So long, Hagenmeyer.
I think we're just gonna use him to take some blood pressure readings. Well, let's go, Benoit. We need to head over here. Oh, it's automatically took us here. Excellent.
Doctor?
What is it now, nurse?
Number 2 again. He won't tell me what he wants. He says he'll only talk to a man.
Do I have to? That guy's nuts.
Doctor, I'm surprised at you. There's no way to talk about our clients.
Okay, I'll see him. But I'm telling you, he's a hypochondriac.
Well, let's go talk to him, shall we?
Hello again.
There's not really much to actually say here. In fact, there's nothing to say here. Goodbye.
Well, goodbye and good luck.
Thanks, Doc.
If we move past now, will Benoit take the blood pressure readings? There's only one way to find out, isn't there? And that's to actually try.
Oh, Doctor,
What now?
you didn't finish taking my blood pressure.
Okay. Is Benoit going to help?
Okay, let's try again.
Let's see.
You don't have the first idea what you're doing, do you?
I'll come back when you've recovered your manners.
Maybe we should use the, machine on, Benoit here and see if that'll work.
Hey, Benoit!
It's worth a try.
There's no need to shout. What do you want?
Here, take this pressure gauge.
Thank you, sir. What do you want me to do with it?
Well, keep it safe until I think of something.
Which means that now he'll take the blood pressure instead of us.
You haven't finished taking my blood pressure.
Is Benoit gonna do it?
Will you keep quiet? You're disturbing the other patients.
I'll keep quiet when you've taken my blood pressure properly.
I have to see Jacques Marquet first.
How come he gets preferential treatment? It's because he's got money, isn't it?
It's not like that. I'll come back when you've dealt with that chip on your shoulder.
Okay, I think we need to talk to Benoit to sort this out. Also, it is interesting all the dialogue we're getting between these two, the argument that's slowly brewing.
Hey, Benoit!
Maybe we can tell him to, take the blood pressure. That would be handy.
Yes, sir?
Yes, we can.
Are you ready with that pressure gauge?
Primed and ready to pump, sir. What do you want me to do with it?
I think we need you to take the, well, we have a few options here, but let's do the, correct one, shall we? We could do all of them, actually. We'll start with this one. No. We'll start with this one.
Use it on René Croquet.
Okay.
This is a bad idea. Okay, that didn't really do anything.
Hey, Benoit!
One of the options was to try use it on the nurse.
Yes, sir?
That's a bad idea.
Do you still have that gauge I gave you?
Ah, yes. What do you want me to do with it?
Use it on Nurse Grendel.
Huh?
Go on, she'll enjoy it.
Well, okay.
I think...
Dr. Stobart,
Yeah?
I would appreciate it if you saved your jokes for the intern's restroom. This is a hospital ward, not a cabaret.
Oh, lighten up.
I heard that. Any more nonsense and I shall report you to Dr. Hagenmeyer.
Well, I suppose there's actually only one option we're allowed to do, and that is to, use it on the actual person that's, meant to be used on.
Hey, Benoit!
It was worth a try to use the other two options.
Yes, sir?
I mean, it was actually used on the, second patient, but, to no real effect.
Do you still have that gauge I gave you?
Ah, yes. What do you want me to do with it?
Right, we'll use it on the only option we have left.
Use it on Eric Sopmarsh.
Okay.
And this should hopefully sort this problem out. There we go. Excellent. Now we can hopefully move on. Yes, we can.
It was a life-sized marble figure of a guy in robes. The sculptor had tried to give him a look of paternal authority and concern. To my mind, he looked just plain constipated.
Well, there's a few places we can go here. There's one door, and there's a guard.
He sat like a statue of a sack of potatoes, but the cop's eyes were as watchful as a hawk's.
Well, we need to be careful then.
Rather you than me, pal.
Oh? Hello?
Marquet?
Yes, I am Marquet. I've been expecting you.
You have?
Well, what are you waiting for? Get it over with.
I just want to know what I should do with the gem.
The Lahmar gem.
Yeah, right here in my pocket.
I thought you were one of the
Not me. I never inhaled.
So, you were sent in my place?
Yeah. You could hardly make the trip to Ireland in your condition. What should I do with the gem?
Deliver it to the Grand Master. Quickly. Tell him that I have found the tripod. Right here in Paris.
What, you have it?
Not yet, but it's being taken care of. I hired a couple of stooges with a flair for petty crime.
Would that be Flap and Guido by any chance?
You know them?
We've met. What about the Hashashin?
Is more likely to have followed Klausner. He'll stop at nothing to prevent the reforging of the sword.
And that's bad, is it?
As for Klausner, he is gone off to Syria on a wild goose chase.
They have geese in Syria?
He has a theory about the location of
That's enough excitement for one day, Monsieur Marquet. What are you doing here?
Talking to this patient, of course.
Monsieur Marquet is my patient. If Herr Hagenmeier was to hear that...
Okay, I'm going. I'd learned all I could from Marquet anyhow.
Well, off we go.
Ah, there you are, sir. I was just coming to look for you. I finished with your pressure gauge.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bunny.
What's that noise? It sounds as if someone's having a cardiac arrest.
It's all right. The doctor's in there with him.
Are you sure he was a doctor?
Oui, monsieur. He showed me his ID. It was Dr. Braille.
There's no Dr. Braille working here.
He's an imposter! The door's locked. Help me, officer.
Stand back, monsieur.
I found Jacques Marquet.
Did he talk?
Yeah, he talked. For the very last time.
He's dead.
Yeah, killed in cold blood by a bogus doctor.
That's despicable. What kind of guy would pass himself off as a doctor and take advantage of a dying man? Was it Khan?
No, I don't know who he was, but it certainly wasn't Khan. He got away, out the window.
Interesting point, by the way, the very slight pause where, it's like, what kind of person would take advantage of a dying man to impose them by being an imposter doctor? And there was that pause of, definitely not George!
Do you think the assassin was responsible for killing Marquet?
I don't think so. He could have finished him off the first time. Besides, Marquet would have recognized him.
He was pumped to the gills with sedatives. He wouldn't have recognized the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse unless they'd introduced themselves. Have you ever heard of the Hashiashin?
No.
Marquet said that they were his biggest enemy.
His biggest enemy was the bogus doctor.
Don't remind me. That guy was evil. He had wild, staring eyes like a dead fish. I'll never trust a doctor again.
Well, there's not really much else we can do at the moment here, but we do want to, go to the museum, I think, now. There's nothing more we can really, discover in the hospital.
I guess I'd better go back and talk to that weirdo.
Which one, Rousseau or Sergeant Mou? Oh, were you referring to Andre?
I'll let you work it out.
Well, off we go! Also, I missed the opportunity to go and talk to the, man outside the actual room where Marquet was. I think I'll add that on here at the very end. So, one moment, and we'll be right there. But not here, there. And we are back, before Jacques Marquet was killed. outside the room where Jacques Marquet is, to go and talk to this guard here. Let's have a conversation, shall we? Hello.
I'm Dr. Stobart.
Bonjour, docteur.
There's a lot to talk about.
Have you seen any suspicious characters on the ward?
Yeah, I have.
A gorilla and a weasel?
No, this was a tatty old bear.
How was the bear acting suspiciously?
Well, he was wearing a homburg.
Is that against the law?
No, but it's pretty weird for a bear.
Don't you think it's possible that the bear was a man in disguise?
Well, obviously, I'm not completely stupid. But who would go to the bother of disguising himself as a bear? It's not as if he'd blend in with the surroundings. I checked with base to see if any bears had been reported missing from the zoo or a traveling circus. They told me to sit tight until reinforcements arrive. I guess they're right. I'd be stupid to tackle a bear single-handed.
Have you considered that they're not sending reinforcements because they don't believe there's a bear in the hospital? I think it would be a little bit more, public knowledge that there was a bear in a hospital. Mainly because people would be screaming and running outside going, "There's a bear in the hospital!"
Have you heard of a guy called Marquet?
He's in quarantine, Doc, right behind this here door.
Marquet is just the man I wanted to see.
I wouldn't go in there if I was you. He has anthrax.
Does he?
I have to visit my patient.
What for?
Routine. I have to check he's still breathing.
What if he's not?
I'll sign the certificate and register his bed as vacant.
That's a cold and distant attitude to death.
Well, I've been institutionalized to the point of godlike aloofness.
The white coat suits you.
Thanks.
Well, let's ask him about this tissue, because we have to ask everyone. The only unfortunate thing was that we couldn't ask Marquet about it.
What does this tissue suggest to you?
It looks as if it has been used to wipe Satan's bottom.
I hate to say it, but you could be right.
What about this buzzer?
Would you like to shake hands?
What for?
As a gesture of goodwill.
On reflection, no.
What about this?
Can you think of any sensible use for this plaster?
Sensible? No. Puerile? Yes, but you've probably thought of those already.
Have you ever heard of the Club Alamet?
No. It sounds Middle Eastern.
Fair enough.
What do you think this tool is used for?
Branding mice without bending down.
That is a very, very specific answer. Also completely wrong, but very specific.
Are you Thomas Merlin of Gruber Electronics?
No.
Then you won't be needing this.
That's a good answer.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, I have never seen him before.
Fair enough.
Do you recognize this red nose?
Don't get cute with me.
Oh? Do we want to show off the gem?
Do you recognize this gem?
It isn't an emerald, is it?
Yeah, I think so. Thanks.
Oh, it's an emerald. Well, there we go. It may not in fact be an emerald. It probably isn't in fact an emerald. But there was all those conversations. Good thing we went back and checked.
Catch you later, officer.
Au revoir, Doc. If you see that bear, kick him in the nuts.
And originally remember that Stobart thought that this man had was attentive like a hawk. He may in fact be attentive like a hawk, but he also believes that there's a bear running around in the hospital. He's remarkably calm about the fact that there's a bear running around in the hospital, isn't he? So when we come back, folks, we shall go over to the museum, I think. There's really not many other places we can go to, because Jacques Marquet is dead. Not yet, but he is dead at the point where I've saved. So he is dead. But here he isn't dead. He will be dead pretty soon as you go through that door, though. So, I'll catch you next time, folks. And I'll see you then. Later.